Okay, hello everybody. This is Samori Swigert here with Swarthy and Swank. We're going to be engaging in a very good conversation today. This is something that's going to ground you, something for your mind, body, and soul. I had to tap on a resource that this brother and we always have great conversations, and some people you have, phone conversations with, and you're like, okay, that's cool, and you have some people that when you hang up the phone, you're motivated, you feel like you're ready to conquer the world, you're ready to go out and make some type of change, or even just kind of retreat within yourself and do some internal work. I always have that type of feeling with this brother right here. This is my brother, my friend, Curtis Ross. He is a life coach, and I'm gonna let him go into what he does. I never like to give anybody's full thing. I like them to kind of give their own self description. So with that said, I'm gonna hand the mic over to Curtis Ross.
Good day, brother. I appreciate the opportunity to join you on this platform, and I'm excited to be a part of this interview process. Yes, my name is Curtis Ross. I am a personal development coach. I am also licensed as a life coach. However, I focus specifically on personal development so that people understand that my primary focus is to help people identify and remove the barriers that are blocking their success. And for me, that focus is dealing with the person from a holistic perspective, their spirit, their spiritual health, their mental health, and their spiritual health. And this is what I have coined as my optimum performance program. So if you're looking for someone to help you develop personally, and you want to focus on getting better in those three core areas, then I'm your guy.
All right. So you heard that, people. And I think that we definitely have some utility in what this brother just mentioned. We talk about spiritual, mental, and physical health. That triad, that trifecta is very important, especially in these days. When you look at a lot of things that we're seeing, you look at society, some of the things you're seeing, we're seeing some atrocious acts, a lot of egregious acts and behaviors. Lifestyles definitely need to be adjusted if we're looking for positive change. Everybody says they want change, but nobody wants to do the modifications or don't know what to modify. So, Curse, straight up, how and why did you get into this era, this area?
Yeah, great question, good brother. Well, for me, of course, us being Hampton University grads
Yes.
and having that HBCU experience, and and then being a black man in America, I wanted to, set the stage there because now you transition into a young brother in his 20s who falls into the space of having health issues that were aggressively attacking my body. They're considered autoimmune deficiencies or autoimmune issues when doctors tend to try to label it, right? And so I was having those challenges in my 20s. Imagine a 20-year-old brother having arthritic symptoms in his hip and just kind of all over his body, and it had various impact. And then the biggest area of my autoimmune issue was in my eyes. And so in my 20s, I was actually diagnosed with the disease iritis, and another fitting term is glaucoma. And so in my 20s, I was seeing ophthalmologists and various doctors. Everyone was trying to figure out, does he have rheumatoid arthritis? Does he have any form of cancer? Does he have anything that we can pinpoint to understand why in his early 20s he's suffering from a disease that most elderly people suffer from? And when it was recognized that really my body was still in a very youthful state, and I was really just young, and they couldn't pinpoint anything because there was no issue or disease found, then I realized that, oh, okay, so this is yet a problem that I need to solve. And so key number one for me was, is I learned in my 20s that my body is not for the doctors to try to figure out.
Hmm.
My body is for me to learn, identify with, protect, and preserve. And so from that point, good brother, when I realized that when the doctor told me, the ophthalmologist told me that these 6 drops that I've given you to help manage the inflammation in your eyes, you're going to be using these 6 drops until you die. And I figured dying was a long way off. Then I said to myself, well, I can't receive that report. So I need to figure out how to fix myself. And so key 2, you have power over your ability to fix yourself.
Yeah. Right.
And so with that, I started on the journey, good brother, of just identifying what I needed to change within my body. And so that's really where the Optimal Performance Program was born, because as I started my health journey, my physical health journey, then it also became an enlightening journey where even the doctors were asking me, what is it that you're doing? And maybe since about my mid 30s, I've no longer had to visit with an ophthalmologist. I no longer have inflammation in my eyes. There was a bit of retinal damage in my left eye, so my vision's a little bit obscure in my left eye. However, for the most part, I can still pass any standard eye exam, and all goes well there. However, again, when you marry in the physical environment, and then as I began to develop in my physical health, I began to see how it tied into the strength of my mind as it relates to me creating disciplines toward my body. Because there's a saying that the thinking that you presently have has created a problem that the same thinking can't solve. And so the way I was living my life and the lifestyle that it brought me to the place of these deficiencies in my body, I realized that I needed to change, and that was going to take a mindset change. And in order to change my body, I had to change my mind. So I had to enhance my mental health. And then there were often times where I needed to tap into a power beyond me. That power lives in the future. That power lives in the area beyond where my senses can tap. And that's where the spiritual health alignment comes into. This power is not about any particular religion. This power is about identifying that there is a greater than that exists beyond us. And whatever you name it, however you name it, that greater than is designed and in place to help you navigate into your future self. And so, again, this Optimum Performance Program over time began to evolve, because for me, I felt like these 3 work in concert to create the whole being. And at 44 years young, I puzzle people about my age, because when they ask me how old I am and they look at me, they say, I wouldn't have given you that age. I would have put you in your 30s. So I have actually Benjamin Button my lifestyle based on this program. And so that's why I'm excited about being able to continue to launch this program and bring this program to not only my community as Black Americans, but more importantly, the world.
Dope story, brother. Dope. But now I have a question for you. With their diagnosis, was there ever any family history that, like, maybe somebody else in your family may have had the same condition, or were you the only one?
Yeah, that was yet another puzzling aspect. The closest that I came to some type of heredity or genealogical impact was my father, who had suffered a slight bout with breast cancer, nothing aggressive.
Right.
A little treatment, and he's been fine in remission, for years now. So that's the only thing I can really report. However, digging into the crate, so to speak, of my family genealogy, I couldn't find anybody in close proximity in my bloodline that I can announce or even deliver to a doctor that suffered from this kind of condition.
Wow. So to me, honestly, and the fact that you were able to remedy that, and your remedy was you going internally and doing some changing and some searching and modification of your lifestyle and just how you carry yourself and just what you do and what you don't do. It seems like, whoever's watching this video, whatever faith you are, whatever higher power you believe in, that higher power put that on you. And being that there's nobody else in your family that can connect any type of hereditary thing, and you fixed it, you corrected it, it seems like it was preordained for that to happen to you so you can have your story to make that change, purposefully put, for you to solve that puzzle. And I'm sure that there are other people that may not have the same condition that you have, but have conditions that can go through that same or similar process to get to that level that you're at right now. So let's go a little deeper. You talk about the spiritual, the mental, and the physical, right? How did you sequence that with the condition that you had? Was there one that came before the other? Did you just, kind of summon and put all three together at the same time? Because I know it had to be a process. It didn't happen overnight, How did that go?
So generally speaking, to evaluate this sequentially, it does really launch from your mental well-being, your ability. And what I mean by that is you need to have or develop the capacity to obtain new information. Mm. So it's the new information pathway that's going to set you up to capture or to be able to identify answers, reasoning, new experiences in from a different perspective. Mm. So your mind has to be stationed or in a place where it is ready to say, okay, I'm open to capture new information. Now, once we engage on that level, then yes, sequentially, I can now begin. And so for me, so in a consultation, it is in a visit, in a consultation with me, which I don't charge for, just to get that vibe of that connection, then the consultation is identifying where you are in your mindset. Mm. And then from there, if you say, Curtis, my mindset is willing to take the journey, then the next step is we want to start working on your physical environment. Mm. Because once we get into your physical environment, then the two will begin to work in tandem with one another. Mm-hmm. Because then your body will now say, oh, okay, your mind will say, oh, my body is participating in this evolution. Great. Now we can start having a partnership because I'm going to need you to be physically strong for this next level of mental that we're about to go into. Mm. And then, of course, encapsulating all of it is having that spiritual awareness, primarily oftentimes when you hit those barriers, because you will. And again, and you need that higher power or the ideals of that higher power to pull you beyond those barriers when you can't see a single thing and you only have faith to drive. Mm.
Mm. Okay. All right. So, give me a little something. So when, as a coach, what is like your initial approach? How do you address and tackle? If you can give me an example, what you would do with a patient or somebody that's seeking some type of guidance or advice.
Yes. Oftentimes, what I've learned over time, good brother, is that the answer to life's problems live behind questions. So oftentimes the successful sales presentation, the successful relationship building process all starts with, are you willing to listen and are
Mhm.
you willing to ask?
Mm.
And so, yes, launching into a consultation, I am willing to listen and I am willing to ask. This is not the time for me to tell you what I think, to tell you what I think I know, to tell you what I've experienced. Because what I need to do is I need to identify at what level you are. A part of my development and training, because I am steeped in a type of biblical reference and framework.
Mhm.
Some may reference this as a Christian philosophy. I
Mhm.
like to say I've elevated into recognizing and understanding the biblical components that can really help drive success in your life. And so, with that being said, there's the idea of seed time and harvest. And so, the idea is that there are particular stages that take you into harvest. There's the seeding stage, there's the watering stage,
Mm.
there's the harvesting stage. And so, the consultation works from that perspective. Where are you on your journey? Are you in that seeding stage where if I give you too much information too soon, I may run you away? Are
Mm.
you in that are you in that watering stage where you're ready for the information? So we can jump right into trainings and exercises, and I can just deliver it, and you're going to go and break that down and chew on it. Or are you in the harvesting stage where you're ready to activate? You're ready to get the gym membership. You're ready to be, compared up with a trainer. You're ready to truly activate in that new dietary plan. I have no idea about that until I ask the questions and I listen.
Yes. Brother, you talked about the physical aspect, and I think this aspect is very important. In today's society, as much as we like fun, I like to have fun. Pretty sure you like to have fun. But I think, as we get older, both of us are 44. We're also trying to be responsible and try, as you said earlier, protect our body, preserve and conserve our body. But in today's society, a lot of the youth, because this is Swarthy and Swank is for the Black gentleman. And so we're trying to redirect um that mentality all the way from the young Black men all the way up into the elderly. In today's society, it seems like there is a detrimental paradigm that a lot of our youth are stuck in, that's coming through the media. Like, we get this, your YOLO, you only live once. Turn up whenever you get a chance to, smoke good, smoke real good, have all this type of sex as, irresponsible as can be. But all this stuff takes toll on the body. You're constantly drinking, smoking, anything that's out there. People are taking ecstasy, they're on fentanyl, they're popping Molly, they're popping Xanax, partying into, the wee hours of the morning. And we've done the partying. I haven't gone as far as all those drugs. The most I did was weed. I don't do that anymore. But I will take a sip. I will take a sip. But I think that we're losing a lot of young Black brothers early, like in their 20s, and we're seeing this from some of them are overdosing on these drugs. You have some of them they're getting so mentally burnt out and turned out from these drugs that now they're going into all types of mental decline and decay. What would you say, and what would you have to offer? What's your input on this modern lifestyle that we're in for young Black men, being that the physical component is part of your triad?
That is definitely an interesting dilemma, good brother. I will say this. I know my optimum performance program is designed to launch the conversations with men, Black men, and other men in general, but definitely Black men, when they've hit around that 33, 35-year-old age. And I say that because I recognize that when we were in our 20s, there was this Superman, Superwoman, but since we're speaking about the men, there was this Superman mentality. And also, I can't speak too heavily psychologically on that process of time, but there's something about your 20s where you on a journey, and it's a rambunctious, overly zealous journey. And you might find a small percentage of young men that are ready and willing and primed to listen to the conversation from the elders about tomorrow.
Yes.
Because that's really the issue. The issue is do I understand that today leads into a tomorrow, and that what I do today carries over into that tomorrow? Am I willing to grasp the concept of that? And that is our challenge, right? Especially with our young brothers in their 20s. And so with that, my thought is, part of the art of science of the law of attraction and moving into a space where you're able to manifest what it is that you desire is to allow things to develop in their time. And so one of the things that I know that even with the Swarthy and Swank profile and culture is that it must always be inviting and never forceful.
True.
And so the reality that I live in, good brother, and it's probably going to be a harsh saying, is that I recognize that because we have to allow time to be the most ultimate minister to these young brothers, unfortunately, we will lose some. So on the way, we should not stop speaking. We should not stop pulling together interviews like these. We should not stop building platforms. That is our duty to ourselves and to our community. However, we should recognize so that the stress and the weight and the anxiety doesn't rest on our shoulders, that brother is still truly the master of his fate and the captain of his soul. And I cannot take that seat in his life.
True.
So to your ask, and so my position becomes, be the bearer of the information, be the soothsayer of information, be that sounding board, and be available. And recognize that these young brothers will take a journey, and they will have to experience life for themselves. However, it is my prayer and hope that they survive it so that we are ready to receive them in and to help make them whole again.
Love it. Yeah, man. I think that's a very, very big thing right there. Getting them primed and the receptiveness, so that they can be aware, because like you said, when you're in your 20s, man, you just think you're invincible, you're in your Tupac, me against the world, but you realize that it's, like, no, I'm fallible, I'm susceptible, I'm vulnerable to a lot of things. And the quicker that I learn that and build up an arsenal that's going to be more of a support, then, I think getting that early in their 20s, that's going to set them up for better success.